I come from a long line of service members. My lineage of a warrior goes back for thousands of years, and the expectation that you will defend your homeland and defend your people was instilled into me at a young age.
For Chuck Sams, the land and the people who inhabit it have been front and center from the beginning. Born in Portland, Oregon, Sams was 4 when his family moved about 200 miles east to the Umatilla Indian Reservation and the lands his father grew up on.
He enjoyed, being able to be brought up on the Umatilla River and on the Columbia River, playing on its tributaries, going and fishing and hunting. He also wanted to ensure that we had those same traditional skills that my people have had for thousands of years. Growing up here was idyllic for a kid.
This was also the start of a lifelong love of learning.
My education really started with my grandfather taking me up to a place called Esculpa Creek, and he pulled a stone from the creek one day and he handed it to me. And he said, "Grandson, from time to time I'm going to ask you questions about the rock, and you need to be able to answer me." He'd say, "Who do you think stepped on this rock? Who do you think swam by this rock?" I started to realize that beyond the Western education I was getting in school, I was also getting a traditional education, and I was still learning science, mathematics, and history, but from a native perspective. And this rock that I know carries a power from my grandfather and teachings that I must continue to learn from, even at age nearly 55. There's always something new to learn.
Like his grandfather before him, Sams joined the Navy in 1988, serving as an intelligence specialist in the first Gulf War.
I got to work with a great crew during the first Gulf War, some of the finest people I know and still know to this day.
That really brought us all together. But Chuck is kind of the glue. He's like the unifier. There is nobody that I'm aware of that he doesn't get along with.
Chuck and I first met on USS Ranger. I believe that serving in the armed forces helps you to learn a degree of self-discipline. And I think for Chuck, for me, for all of our shipmates, everybody that served together, that really helped us.
No sailor serves alone. Every service member learns honor, courage, and commitment. And those aren't words that you take lightly, and I've tried to live up to that every day, even post-service.
Post-service, Sams worked with environmental and youth development organizations, including the Earth Conservation Corps, the Community Energy Project, and the Trust for Public Land. His constant focus, how to be a good steward of land.
The land makes me who I am, and there's a relationship that shouldn't be transactional with land. It's supposed to be reciprocal because of what it provides us as human beings.
He learns how to manage and is able to work out the studies, the findings, conclusions, recommendations, and finding the ways, the means, and getting the people to take us to the next steps.
Which is why it made perfect sense to many when Sams was named the 19th Director of the National Park Service, a title he held from 2021 to 2025, the first Native American to serve in the role.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, this cat is perfect for that position.
He really saw himself as the steward of the lands that were set aside for the American people, and that his whole goal was to protect those lands for us in perpetuity. Well, he had that opportunity.
He definitely wanted to do something that was big enough to make an impact for all of Indian country, and he accomplished that.
The National Park Service was dedicated to ensuring and protecting flora and fauna for generations ahead so that people could go and enjoy those parks. I didn't even plan on becoming the director. It truly was inspiring and invigorating from the prospect of what it means to be an American.
From national parks to the land of his ancestors to the Navy, Chuck Sams has a deep appreciation for the country he calls home.
When I was a young sailor, we ended up taking a trip. We went from Maine to Florida, and we decided that we were going to try to hit as many national parks, monuments, and memorials as we could. We got to see America from a perspective that most Americans didn't. But going to those monuments and memorials, we got to understand that America is an idea that we fight for. We don't fight for an individual, we fight for a constitution. We fight to protect this idea of our democracy, and that it's messy, and that people have to continue to fight for their rights. But each time we do so, we just become better as a nation. You can always do more, you can always do better.
The U.S. Navy Memorial presents the 2025 Lone Sailor Award to Chuck Sams.